أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة تبعث الانشراح، وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله بالهدى والتقى والصلاح. وصلي وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه بإحسان ما بدا نجم ولاح. قال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد، أيها المسلمون، هذه الدنيا مراحل، والناس فيها بين مستعد وراحل، وليست العبرة بطول العمر وقصره، وكل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. العبرة إخوتي في الله بحسن العمل والختام. قال تعالى: فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز. نسأل الله أن يحسن لنا العمل والختام. والعاقل إخوتي في الله من حاسب نفسه ورجا ربه وخاف من ذنوبه قبل أن تكون سببا في هلاكه. قال تعالى: واعبد ربك حتى يأتيك اليقين. عباد الله، حسن الختام مطلوب المؤمنين وغاية العارفين، والخوف من سوء الخاتمة هو الذي أرهب قلوب الصادقين، لأنهم يؤمنون بقول الله تعالى: يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة، ويضل الله الظالمين ويفعل الله ما يشاء. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: اللهم مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. أيها المؤمن، أيها المؤمنة، حسن الختام معناه أن يوفقك الله في الدنيا للعمل الصالح وأن تموت على العمل الصالح. أخرج الإمام أحمد رحمه الله بسنده عن أنس أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إذا أراد الله بعبد خيرا استعمله قبل موته. قالوا: يا رسول الله وكيف يستعمله قبل موته؟ قال: يوفقه لعمل صالح ثم يقبضه عليه. وهكذا لما حضرت الوفاة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، جلست فاطمة رضي الله عنها وعنده ما يتغشاه من الكرب الشديد عند الموت، فبدأت تقول رضي الله عنها: وكربها متاه. فيقول صلى الله عليه وسلم استبشارا بلقاء الله تعالى وحسن خاتمته: ليس على أبيك كرب بعد اليوم يا فاطمة. وتحضر الوفاة بلال بن رباح رضي الله عنه، فيردد القول قائلا: غدا نلقى الأحبة محمدا وصحبه. فتبكي زوجته وتقول: وحسرتاه وأسفاه، وهو يقول لها: بل وفرحتاه غدا نلقى الأحبة محمدا وصحبه. وعندما نزل الموت بمعاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنه قال: مرحبا بالموت زائر بعد غياب، وحبيب جاء على فاقه. اللهم إني كنت أخافه فأنا اليوم أرجوك. اللهم إنك تعلم أني لم أكن أحب الدنيا لجري الأنهار ولا لنفس الأشجار، ولكن لظمأ الهواجر ومكابدة الساعات ومزاحمة العلماء عند حلق الذكر. فتوفي على هذا رضي الله عنه. ولما احتضر الخليفة الراشد عمر بن عبد العزيز رحمه الله تعالى قال لمن حوله: اخرجوا عني فلا يبقى أحد. فخرجوا فقعدوا على الباب، فسمعوه يقول: مرحبا بهذه الوجوه، ليست بوجوه إنس ولا جان. ثم قال: تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا، والعاقبة للمتقين. ثم قبض رحمه الله تعالى على ذلك. My brothers and sisters, it's not about how long we live in this life or how short we live in this life. It's about how we end this life. It's all about the good ending. You al Khatima, the ending. How will it end for you and for me? How will it end? That is the real question. Will Malik al-Maut, will the angel of death come to you and me when we are in Salah, when we are in sujood, inshallah, or when we are in reading the Quran? Will the angel of death come to you or to me when we are in dhikr, or giving sadaqah, or being good to our parents? Or how will it come to us? This is the question. This is a very serious question. Husn al Khatima, good ending, should be the ultimate aim of every Muslim and Muslimah. It is more important than anything that we acquire. Husn al Khatima, how will it end for? That is the question. And it is the absolute desire of every mu'min and mu'minah. That is, I want to live this life with a good ending. And the fear of losing this dunya in a state that is displeasing to Allah Ta'ala, or in a state where we are maybe in an act of disobedience. This concern has made the people of the past tremble, made them frightened, concerned, begging Allah constantly, Ya Allah, take us out of this life in a way that is pleasing to you. Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala narrated in a hadith that Anas radiallahu anhu said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِعَبْدٍ خَيْرًا اسْتَعْمَلَهُ قَبْلَ الْمَوْتِ. When Allah Ta'ala wants good for somebody, He uses him or uses her before death. They said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, what does that mean? What does it mean that Allah will use somebody before they die?" قال عليه الصلاة والسلام يوفقه لعمل صالح ثم يقبضه عليه. It means Allah will give him the tawfiq to do good deed just before he dies. May Allah Ta'ala give us that tawfiq, inshaAllah Ta'ala. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was dying, and you can imagine the scene. This is Rasulullah, the best of creation. The Sahaba loved him more than they loved themselves, more than they loved their fathers and their mothers and their wealth and their houses. They would sacrifice themselves and their parents for him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And now the moment of truth comes to him, alayhi salatu wa sallam. And he is dying, and his beautiful, beloved daughter, Fatima radiallahu anha, is sitting by his head, and she is saying, because when she sees what he's going through, she says, "Wa karba abata, oh my father, oh my father." He looks at her and he says, hoping in Allah, looking forward to meet his Allah, looking for that moment of truth, those final seconds of his life, he says to her, he says to his Fatima, "Laysa ala abihi karbun ba'da al-yawm." There is no woe on your father after today, O Fatima. There is no worries for your father after today, O Fatima. In this dunya, he suffered. In this dunya, he used to have migraines, believe it or not. One day, Rasulullah was coming back from the cemetery, and he heard Aisha says, "Wa ra'sah, wa ra'sah." Aisha was saying, "My headache, my headache." قال من أنا ورأساه, أنا ورأساه. He says, "Neither, no, it's me who has a headache. It's me who has a headache." Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He suffered. They tried to kill him. He had headaches. He was poisoned. He didn't eat. Sometimes on months on end. Months on end would pass, and there is nothing in the houses of Rasulullah except dates and water. And now the moment of truth comes, and he says, "ليس على أبيه كرب بعد اليوم." There is no worries over your father after today. When Bilal ibn Rabah, yes, Bilal was a slave before Islam, he was looked upon, he was looked down upon before Islam. When the moment of truth came and he was about to die, he said to his wife, "Bring the musk that we have, mix it with water, sprinkle it around me." Why? She said. He says, "Because we will be visited by a creation that neither eats nor drinks, but they love the beautiful fragrance, the angels." When he was leaving, when his last breaths were leaving, she said, "Oh, how sad this moment is. What a sorrow, what a sorrow." He looks at her and he says, "Oh my dear wife, do not say what a sorrow, but say, wa farhata his friends sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when Umar bin Abdul Aziz was dying, the fifth Khalifa, not chronologically, but in righteousness, in virtue, radiallahu anhu, when he was Umar bin Abdul Aziz, legends should be written about him, books should be written about him, movies should be made about Umar bin Abdul Aziz, radiallahu anhu. When he was dying, or just before the moments he died, he said to everybody around him, leave the room. And they left him there by himself, but they all sat at the door to listen to what is going on. And then they heard him say, speak. There's nobody in there, but they heard him say, Marhaban bihadihi al-wujuh. Welcome to these faces. Laysat biwujuhi insin wala jan. These are not the faces of humans or jinn. They are the faces of angels. The angels, he was speaking to the angels. And then he recited the ayah, تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. He says, this is the hereafter. Allah says, this is the hereafter. We have made it only for those who did not want arrogance nor corruption on this earth, and we have made it for the muttaqeen, for those who have taqwa. And then he died. Radiallahu anhu. These were his last words. We have seen people who leave this dunya in beautiful ways, and you hear of stories of people who leave this dunya. May Allah save us. May Allah save us in terrible ways. In one of those years when I was in Hajj, and this is an eyewitness report because I was there, and just as we had finished Hajj and the Hujjaj, we came back from Mina, we are back in our hotel. It was the Shuhada Hotel in Shara Ajad. If anyone from there, you would know the place. And nearby there was Mustashfa Ajad, the old hospital Ajad, which is no longer there. And the first batch of Hajjaj were about to leave. To leave back home, that is. And they were standing in the lobby of the hotel. And the buses are waiting outside to take them to the airport. So you can imagine they have their suitcases, they have the gifts that they have bought for their families. Now the moment to go back home. And as they were standing there, a couple from Fiji, but they are from New Zealand, living in New Zealand, originally from Fiji. And the man is not an alim, he's not a hafid, he's not somebody so-called special in our eyes at least. He fell and fainted. The bus was waiting outside, but it wasn't meant to be for him, you see. He wasn't meant to go home. He fainted, we took him to the Ajad hospital, and 3 days later he passed away. He passed away after Hajj. He passed away in Mecca. He passed away on Friday morning. And when we took him from the Husn al Khatima for Salah, as you know, they take him right near the Kaaba. They Salat al-Janazah, and it was Friday morning after Fajr, meaning it was packed. Maybe 2.5 million people. He was prayed upon by 2.5 million. And he was buried in Mecca. Allah said, I don't want you to leave Mecca. We went and asked his wife after, when the Shaykh was with us, he went and asked his wife, out of curiosity, was there anything special that he was doing? Is there anything special about this man? He said, nothing special. But he did have 2 dreams when he was in Medina. What were those dreams? He said in the first dream, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam leading us in Salah. And so he woke up that morning excited and happy and jolly and light. And the next dream he saw that he was dead and his sons in New Zealand praying on him Janazah Salah after Asr New Zealand time, which is Fajr Saudi time. We said, SubhanAllah. Husn al Khatima. This is the end. Husn al Khatima. This is what we should aspire for. This is what we should be working for. فمن وفقه الله للعمل الصالح في آخر عمره وفي آخر ساعة من الأجل فقد كتب الله له حسن الخاتمة ومن خذله الله فختم ساعة أجله بعمل شر وذنب يغضب الرب فقد ختم له بخاتمة السوء والعياذ بالله من ذلك. And so anyone who is given the tawfiq before he dies, Ya Allah, make us of those, Ya Allah. Anyone who is given the tawfiq before he dies, to die on a good deed, to be given the opportunity to say kalima, or to be reading the Quran, or to be making dhikr, or to be in sujood, then this is those whom Allah has given him Husn al Khatima, good ending. And the opposite is true. وَلَقَدْ حَثَّنَا اللَّهُ تَعَالَى إِخْوَتِهِ اللَّهِ وَأَمَرَنَا بِالْحِرْصِ عَلَى نَيْلِ الْخَاتِمَةِ الْحَسَنَةِ فَقَالَ تَعَالَى يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Allah encouraged us and told us again and again, make sure you don't leave this dunya except with a good ending. And that's why Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, the verse of the Quran that you hear every khutbah, at the beginning of every khutbah, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, all believers, ittaqullah, have taqwa of Allah, haqqa tuqatih, as you ought to be feared, wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun, and make sure you don't die except in a state of Islam. كمن وفقه الله لحسن الخاتمة فقد سعد سعادة لا يشقى بعدها أبدا ولا كرب عليه بعد ذلك التوفيق ومن ختم له بسوء الخاتمة فقد خسر في دنياه وأخرى. And for the one who's given that tawfiq, Ya Allah give us that tawfiq, the one who's given that tawfiq to leave this dunya with a good ending, then he has gained the success of dunya and akhirah. And the one who is not given that good ending, he has lost dunya and akhirah. Years ago when I was visiting India, one of the ulama there used to teach Surah Abu Dawud, the hadith, the collection of Abu Dawud, Surah Abu Dawud. And he, every morning, used to teach 1 hour. The day he died, he was teaching the hadith collection for 2 hours. And then after Asr Salah, he was sitting with a group of ulama. They were doing consultation, mashwara. Sitting with a group of ulama, he was smiling and he was happy and he was light and he was excited. And suddenly, lo and behold, as he was sitting among the crowd of his ulama, he raises his hands, looks up, smiles, and he says, Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba, and he passed away. He said, welcome, welcome, and he died, rahmatullahi alayhi. Welcome to whom? To the angels, of course. They say about Shaykh Abu Hassan Ali Nadwi, rahmatullahi alayhi, one of the great ulama of India, who was well respected among the Arabs and the Ajam. He was made the president of the Arabic Literature Society in Damascus or in Syria because of his brilliance, rahmatullah alayhi. Every Friday, as he would have ghusl, the Sunnah ghusl, Jumu'ah, and would sit and read Surah Al-Kahf. Usually, you read Surah Al-Kahf because it's Sunnah. That morning he read Yasin. And when he came to this verse, and this is what his students would say, and I heard this first hand also from some of his students. He said when he came, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ, when the ayah came, and it was said, the ayah says, it was said, enter Jannah. He died at that moment. At that moment. He was reading the Quran, and you can imagine, he was Muslim, he was his best clothes, he was facing the Kaaba, he was facing Kaaba, and then he's reading Quran, he comes to this ayah, قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. It was said, enter Jannah. Allah is telling us the story of the man who came to give support to the messengers in the Quran, and his people rejected him. They killed him because he was giving support to the da'is, to their messengers. At the moment of his death, Allah says to that man, then قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ. It was said to enter Jannah. And Shaykh Abu Hassan rahmatullahi alayhi, at that moment, when he read قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ, he died. Rahmatullah. Husn al Khatima, brothers. فَمَنْ وَفَّقَهُ اللَّهُ لِحُسْنِ الْخَاتِمَةِ. Whosoever is given the tawfiq of good ending, then this is the man who is successful. This is the woman who is successful. وَمِنْ صِدْقِ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ فِي نِيَّتِهِ وَعَمِلَ بِسُنَّةِ رَسُولِهِ واتبع هدى أصحابه فقد جرت سنة الله تعالى أن يختم له بخير وأن يجعل عواقب أموره إلى خير. قال تعالى إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا. And a person who is intention is good, he is sincere in what he does, he follows what Allah wants, he follows the sunnah of his messenger, he follows the way of good people sincerely and genuinely to the best of his abilities or their abilities, then Allah Ta'ala has
ways of those who do good deeds to go to waste.
and the وعد of Allah is haq, and the promise of Allah is haq. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. يا فوز المستغفرين استغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. من أسباب التوفيق إلى حسن الخاتمة النية الصالحة والإخلاص، لأن النية الصالحة والإخلاص شرط الأعمال المقبولة عند الله. Of the ways that can help us, inshallah, have a good end is to be sincere in what we do and look at our intentions all the time. Who am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? Am I doing what I'm doing so people can be pleased? So people can say, MashaAllah, he is such and such. Lillah. Only for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. ومن أسباب الخاتمة الحسنة المحافظة على الصلوات جماعة مع المسلمين. ففي الحديث قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى الفردين دخل الجنة. And of the ways that can help us, inshallah, guarantee a good ending is to pray Salatul Jama'ah, Salat in Jama'ah with the Muslims. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, whosoever prays in Jama'ah, Fajr and Asr, Fajr and Isha, he or she will enter Jannah. ومن أسباب التوفيق لحسن الخاتمة الإيمان والإصلاح في كل شيء. قال تعالى فمن آمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. And of the good, or the reasons, or the means of getting Husn al Khatima is imaan, and to try to fix problems between people, reconcile between people, instead of becoming a cause of conflict, become a cause of peace between people. Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَنْ آمَنَ وَأَصْلَحَ. And those who have iman and they rectify, then there is no fear upon them, and they should not be saddened. They should not feel sorry, nor should they feel sad. ومن أسباب توفيق الله لحسن الخاتمة تقوى الله في السر والعلن بامتثال أمره واجتناب نواهيه والدوام على ذلك. And of the means of getting Husn al Khatima, good ending, is to fear Allah in secret and in open. When you are in your room by yourself and the lights are switched off and there is no one there, so to speak, to see you or hear you, never say, I am alone, but say, Alayya Raqib. Never say, I am alone, but say, I have a watcher over Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In those moments, when the nafs and the shaitan come to you and wants you to do something that may displease Allah, remember and remember again that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is watching. Like the young man who was an international student, he was traveling. You know, international students, sometimes they are by themselves. Very easy sometimes. May Allah make it easy for them. And this particular young man, he was in a boarding, in one of these student accommodation. And student accommodation, you have everything. You have everything there. And this young man was firm on his deen. He wanted to protect his deen. But there was this very beautiful, attractive young lady who always tried to come and converse with him and try to come. And he was very frightened that he may fall in haram and fitna. So what he did in his room, on his simple desk at home, and in his simple room, very small, he lit a candle. And as he was studying, every time his nafs or shaitan came and tried to ta'muru bis-su', to order him to do good or think about evil, he just put his finger, just the finger, on the flame of the candle, and when he could not resist, he pulled it out. And then he said to his nafs, you cannot handle the flame of a candle light, how can you handle the flames of Jannah? cannot handle the flames of a candlelight, how can you handle the flames of Jannah? In this way, you resist. Because this is what this dunya is about. Resistance. There will be temptations, young men, but resistance. To know this life will end short soon. And there will be a day when there is no return. So it is either we work towards a good ending, or it is either we succumb to these temptations, and we succumb to these evils, and we succumb to our own desires, and may Allah Ta'ala save us. The ending may not be as good as we expected. One last thing before I finish. I wanted to talk more about the asbab al-Husn al Khatima, maybe another time. Just one last thing. ومن أسباب التوفيق إخوتي بالله لحسن الخاتمة البعد عن ظلم الناس وعدم البغي والعدوان عليهم في نفس أو مال أو عرض أو حقوق معنوية وأدبية أو مادية. وهذا أمر مهم جدا. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده والمهاجر من هجر ما حرم الله. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم واتقي دعوة المظلوم واتقي دعوة المظلوم فإنه ليس بينها وبين الله حجاب. رواه البخاري. And last but not least, of the ways to help us to have a good ending is to make sure that you do not commit dhulm against anybody. Dhulm, oppression, tyranny, injustice, whether this dhulm is psychological, mental, physical, financial, anything, any type of dhulm, by not usurping, taking away their rights, whether it's your wife or your son or your daughter or your neighbor or your cat, whatever it may be. Each of those have a haqq on you. Each of those have a right upon you. And not giving each their right is dhulm. Or taking away their rights is dhulm. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in a hadith that should make a shiver when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ. Be careful of the dua of the person who is wronged. Be careful of the dua of the person who is wronged, who is oppressed, who feels injustices has been committed against him. Be careful of their dua, because there is no barrier between his dua and Allah. There is no barrier between his dua and Allah, or her dua and Allah. Whether this person may be Muslim, non-Muslim, neighbor, friend, enemy, alhamdulillah, our standards come from Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wallah harrama dhulm ala nafsihi, and Allah made dhulm haram upon himself, wa harramahu alayna, and He made it haram upon us. Fala tawala. Then He says, do not commit dhulm, full stop. And there is no favoritism in Islam. Oh, doesn't matter, I can commit dhulm against this person because he's not from my background, or this person because he doesn't speak my language, or this person I can commit dhulm against him because they are lower than me, so to speak, in society. Allah is adil mutlaq. Allah is absolutely just. And when dhulm is committed, Allah Ta'ala yumhil al-dhalim wa la yumhil. Allah Ta'ala gives the dhalim opportunity to repent, to come back. But when he does not, فَإِذَا أَخَذَهُ لَا يُفْلِتُ. But when Allah takes an oppressor, a tyrant, a dhalim, when Allah grabs hold of this person, He does not let go. عباد الله إن الله أمركم بأمر بدأ فيه بنفسه فقال تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. وقد قال صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى عليه صلاة واحدة صلى الله عليه بها عشرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربنا قلت وقولك الحق نسألك ربنا الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك حسن الخاتمة. اللهم إنا نسألك حسن الخاتمة. اللهم إنا نسألك حسن الخاتمة. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم، ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل، ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصل اللهم